Something missing from almost every training plan I've ever seen, and I think it's time we talk about it. I could probably go off on a whole series of episodes about designing run training plans, but I really want to focus on a specific aspect that few people include on their plans, but it's probably the most important aspect that nobody's putting on a plan. So, when I do a gait analysis with a client, we spend almost the first 30 minutes talking about all aspects of training and health. This may be one of the most valuable aspects of the whole gait analysis because we look at all factors that may contribute to injury or loss of performance. I have a few soapboxes that I often go on with these clients. And today I want to go and share one of those that's often an aha moment that many runners have never really thought about before. I'm lucky enough to work with all levels of runners, from first timers to first place in the world. And when people ask me about the major differences I see between what the pro runners do, at least the successful pro runners, and what recreational runners do, I think this is the training habit that we're talking about in this episode that is one of those big differences. One more quick piece of background before we jump in. If you listen to the RunDNA podcast episode about the magic question that all runners should ask themselves, you'll be familiar with a concept that we call minimum effective dosage. The main point is that we should only do the training that is necessary to achieve a goal and no more. The concept's also critical for what we're talking about today. So here it is. When people plan their training and are increasing the load, how are they planning to increase the recovery? Put it kind of another way, if you're going to run farther or run faster, how do you plan to recover better so that you take advantage of all the working out that you just did? As a matter of fact, I actually see many people actually do the opposite of this. Instead of planning their training, they actually do worse recovery when they're doing some of their highest training volume. And here's a tangible example. Let's say you're doing a big long run for your marathon plan. As soon as you're done the run, what do? A lot of times I hear people say that they do whatever they want. They're going to have some beverages. They're going to have whatever food they want. They're going to stay up late, watch a movie. And don't get me wrong, I'm all for people finding balance with their training programs and focusing on the mental aspects. And it can feel very daunting when you're 10 weeks into a 16-week marathon plan that you just want to do a little something fun and exciting and not have everything dictated by your running. I totally get that. But what if you're missing out on the benefits of doing that big long run? If you want to get the most out of the workout, you should be planning to recover well at the same time as you're doing the big workouts. Getting sleep the night before a big workout or a long run really helps. But what about the night of? That's probably even more valuable to get good night's sleep that night. And if you're eating food or having alcohol or those things, that's going to disturb your sleep. It's going to affect how well you recover for it. We should be eating our best foods on those days and striving to take a nap or do some restorative movement-based exercises, not going to Applebee's for all you can eat wings and fries. Move the cheat day to one of your easy runs if you still want to have that cheat day. Now, this is a pretty specific example that I'm sure you can see something I've talked about multiple times and is one of the soapboxes that I'll often go on. But what I really want to convey in this short episode is that we need to focus on matching our recovery efforts with our workout efforts. At a high school level, we should be encouraging our athletes to get extra sleep and eat healthy foods as they're peaking for competition. So the week or two leading up to states, they need to be getting as much sleep as they can, understanding we're all professionals probably in something else, and maybe they have a big test and they're not able to get that sleep. But we should be encouraging them to prioritize those things and focus on every aspect of recovery that they control. Same thing for recreational runners, making sure that when they're in the peak phase, when they're doing their highest volumes before a taper, that they're also maximizing the recovery and making sure that they're going to get the most out of those workouts they're doing. I see so many people that put in these great efforts during a run and then just squander it away with poor recovery and wonder why their performance during a race doesn't match up with their training efforts. And there's a cumulative stress and there's a cumulative fatigue that happens over these 16-week programs that people are doing for marathons or different variations and lengths based on the event that they're doing. but I think it's really an important aspect that we need to get people to understand that they have to maximize their recovery so that they're getting the most out of it. And if you're somebody that's often wondered, why do I overperform in training and underperform in races? This might be something that's missing from your training program. I like to provide tangible answers and things that people can do. So here's some easy ways to boost recovery if you're in the midst of a high load portion of your training program. Easy things. Drink plenty of water. This is a big one that a lot of people don't do, even though they know that they're sweating and they're participating. Are you getting enough water to replace not only what you did from the workout, but to match your increased recovery needs after a workout? Consider an electrolyte replacement to match that. Time your meals to get nutrition in within 30 minutes after any run over 40 minutes. Consider using compression sleeves or doing legs up the wall. Check out episode 2 of the RunDNA podcast to learn more about that. But other things you can do are try to be consistent with your timing of your eating and going to bed. And if you're able to go to bed before 10 p.m., that's really helpful. When we talk about circadian rhythm and sleep patterns, it's not just about your sleep. It's also what you're doing throughout the day. And having consistency throughout the day does make a big difference for the quality of your sleep. And last, but certainly not least, shoot for 9.5 hours of sleep. I know some people might laugh out loud or stop listening thinking that I'm crazy. I know I have 3 kids and 9.5 hours seems like a luxury that was not on my plate for the past 9 years, but I think it's important that when we're increasing our training that we shoot for that. That doesn't mean you have to get it every night, but maybe just on your biggest workout days that you should try to get an extra half an hour or try to get a little bit more sleep than what you're doing. Sleep is by far number one, the most performance enhancing behavior that you can do. So prioritize it. All right, now Soapbox now recorded. When I do a gait analysis, I can just send them a link to this after so that I don't have to keep going on soapboxes every time I'm talking with them. But I'd love to hear from the audience about what you're doing to maximize your recovery after key workouts. So sharing any tips or tricks or things that you know. As always, we promote personalization. So each person is going to have to find what their formula is for recovery. But if you're planning or in the midst of a plan for a big training effort and you really have a performance-based goal around that, try to really think about how you're recovering and plan that recovery and protect that recovery the same way you would protecting your long run. So thanks for listening and happy running.
Like what you hear? Leave a review of the show wherever you listen, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. RunDNA helps runners and running specialists through education and technology to identify each runner's unique injury profile to avoid setbacks and maximize results. The RunDNA podcast is produced by Ace Running LLC. The RunDNA podcast is intended for educational purposes only. No clinical decision-making should be based solely on one source. While care is taken to ensure accuracy, factual errors can occur. Always seek the guidance of qualified medical professionals before making healthcare decisions. Find us online at rundna.com.